Hey everybody, I'm Julie from Maison Jupiter, and I'm so excited to be here with you today for this very new Astro Decode first episode with my friend Meg. Hi Meg, how are you?
Hi, Julie. I'm good. So excited to do this with you today.
Yes, me
Yeah.
too. And we have an amazing subject for you guys today. So it's going to be the 2023 predictions with in regards to astrology. So
hmm
today is a very potent day for that because, Mercury is turning direct. First of all, today. So I know you guys are going to be very excited about this. So it's great to have a conversation, clearer communication, hopefully. No problem with communication, hopefully. And also, the sun is conjuncting the planet Pluto today. So I think it's great for deeper conversations. You said that in your live, well, not your
Mm,
live, but your episode today on
yeah.
Beyond Mystic. What do you think about this aspect, Meg?
I actually didn't even realize that that's happening while we're doing this until right now. It's kind of perfect because Pluto is one of the rulers of the occult and astrology, and the sun shining a light on Pluto is going to help us reveal whatever needs to be heard today for our
Yeah.
whole community out there. So it's awesome aspect for today.
I love that. So we have this brand new show. Do you want to talk about what we're going to do here every 2 weeks?
Yes, so this is so exciting. We're going to be doing this new show called Astro Decode, and we're going to have a different theme every 2 weeks. So today we're going to be doing the astrology of 2023 and different 2023 predictions that we have for the year. And might be a good idea, Julie, if maybe we ask people in the comments to write down, what do you want
Yeah,
to hear us decode astrologically? Because
very good
there's
idea.
so many things we can do. We can look at the charts of people, of countries, of organizations, of situations. It's with astrology, it is endless, right?
Yeah.
So we could decode anything.
Yeah,
So,
I'm so
yeah.
excited for this because I have a lot of ideas, and I'm sure you guys have a lot too. So, yeah, you're right, Meg. It's such a great idea. If you want to, guys, if you want to comment below the episode and during the chat, so we can look at your ideas if you have special requests for Astro Decodes. And today, whoops, it's the first time I'm operating this on my channel, guys. So bear with me. Usually, JC is doing the heavy lifting. So thank you, JC, for everything that you taught me for operating this StreamYard. So thank you very much. And we're going to have a special candle giveaway today. So
Ooh.
for all the super chats questions that we're going to have. And also at the end of the episode, we'll select one question in the super chats and we're going to answer it with astrology. So the candle that we're going to have for you guys today is going to be the magic candle. So right here,
Nice.
I love this one. So it's peppermint, vanilla, and clove, and it's infused with clear quartz for a brand new start. We're really close to the new moon in Aquarius, so this is going to be a very fresh start with all planets moving direct finally. So I feel like this candle is really suited for this brand new energy. So we're going to have one candle for one of you in the chat at the end of the episode for the super chat. So what else? So please like, share, and subscribe because we're trying to expand this channel and develop all sorts of free content for you guys. So if you could like and share and subscribe, we appreciate it very much. So next, what about 2023, Meg? What, generally speaking, how do you see this year, maybe in comparison to 2022 or the previous years? How do you see it, let's say, compared to the previous year?
This is another historical year that I think is going to go down in the astrological history books, but also the real history books, if you will. We've got so much happening that we're both going to be talking about, but this is, I think, even more actually potent of an energy than, let's say, 2020. Okay. That's just my opinion. I
Wow,
think
okay.
this year is even bigger than when we had 2020 with the Saturn Pluto conjunction, because this year we've got, first of all, I think the biggest thing is Pluto ingressing into Aquarius,
Right.
moving out of Capricorn into Aquarius. And, Pluto takes 10 to 20 years to move through different signs. So whenever he moves, it's a huge deal. He's the ruler of the underworld, right? So, and transformation and cleansing. So it's a huge deal wherever, he's moving, whenever he does. So we've got Pluto changing signs the exact same month as Saturn is
Yeah.
changing signs. The two malefic planets that are considered to be, the most challenging, darkest planets in a lot of ways, right? So that's happening. But then also, the nodes are shifting, which you're going to be talking, Julie, right? And
Yeah.
so we're moving out of the North Node in Taurus and the South Node in Scorpio into North Node in Aries and South Node in Libra. And we're starting to get more fire this year. This is the first year in a little bit we're starting to get more fire with Jupiter in Aries now,
I love
with
that. I love the fire.
fire. Yes, we need the fire so bad because we've been so much in the physical experience of what's going on and really being in the nitty gritty of the day to day and the really traumas that I think have been going on with a lot of the planets and earth signs and having to deal with all the government stuff going on and, the air, the societal changes going on with the planets and air signs. Now that we have some fire, this is some life force with Jupiter in Aries now. And the first eclipse of the year is going to be in Aries at a critical degree, and the North Node moving into Aries in July. So we're going to be feeling more fiery, more passionate, more,
Mm.
that Aries energy, which we're going to talk about. And what else? I think those are the really big things for 2023. Is there
Yeah,
anything
and
I'm missing?
not to forget that all planets will be moving direct from January 22nd until April, which is kind of rare in astrology that we have all planets moving direct at the same time. So for me, it's like a very big push from the universe to allow us to, let's say, put forward projects, put forward ideas, move on, change some stuff in our personal lives, environment. So I think it's going to be a great energy, and I love the fire.
Mhm.
I'm very fiery in my chart, so I think I'm gonna love that.
Yeah.
And Meg, can you tell us, for people that are kind of new to astrology, how can they use very briefly this knowledge in their personal lives to, let's say,
Mhm.
navigate all the aspects in the best way possible for them? What
Yeah.
would you say to that?
So this is where a year like this, where there's so many huge changes happening astrologically, it's good for us to be aware of so that we can work with the energy consciously instead of it like kind of passing us by and we don't really know why things are happening the way it's happening. We can work with it consciously, particularly, I think, this Aries energy that we're stepping into.
Yeah,
So we're going to talk about that and what that all means. But it's really about self awareness, I think. And, it's like the cosmic weather report when we're talking about the astrology. So it's good for us to be aware of for ourselves, where to be focusing our energies, and to also know that everything is okay and everything is a cycle. That's also what astrology teaches us.
right.
And also, it's good for us to know this information because something I'm really noticing, especially in the one on one consultations I'm doing right now, is this theme about those of us who are the natural born mystics or healers, way showers, if you will. We're about to have a lot of explaining to do to our family and
Mm.
our friends in the very near future. And a big part of that, the astrology, is going to be a big part in helping us to explain what's going on and why everything's going on the way it's going.
Right. And Pluto and Aquarius too. I think astrology is going to be very a lot more popular than it was before,
Mhm.
because Aquarius is the sign related to astrology, and Pluto is like the deep researcher and the big change in society also. So yeah, totally agree with you.
Yeah.
Before we go even deeper into astrology content, I just want to mention here, if you want to book with Meg your personal appointment, you can do so on maisonjupiter.com. So here we have the 1 hour personal forecast appointment with Meg. This is for the year ahead. So 1 year ahead from now, from your appointment date. She's looking at all the transits and how can you best benefit of all the energies for you, regardless of your own birth chart. And the second one is the 1 hour and a half birth chart reading, which is kind of your blueprint for your incarnation here on Earth. So getting to know your own birth chart is kind of very important for your, I would say, your awakening process, your personal evolution, to really get all the tools and unlock all the gifts from astrology. So if you use Beyond Mystic in one word, it gives you 10% off. And I know people have been telling us, oh, it's only I think in April or the next appointment because you're so popular. But guys, it's worth it. I had my appointment with Meg, and she was so spot on everything in my life that I've been experiencing with my birth chart. And I was like blown away. So it's worth it. It's worth the wait.
Thank you, Julie.
Oh, you're welcome. Okay, so and then also on Maison Jupiter, before we start, we have wait a minute, where am I? We have the personalized birth chart too.
Yes.
So if you want to start maybe your astrology journey, or just have like a nice art print of your own personalized birth chart in the color of your choice, you can print it and frame it. It's a digital product, and it comes with a 15 to 20 pages report explaining your main alignments and your planet positions in sign and houses. So let's get started. Let's get started. So first of all, just so you guys know how we're going to structure this today. So we're going to go over Jupiter transit is one. So 4 key elements that Meg and I think are going to influence 2023 the most regarding astrology. So first, I'm going to talk about Pluto in Aquarius. That's going to start in March. And then Meg is going to talk about Saturn moving into Pisces starting in March also. So March is going to be a big month. Yes.
March. Yeah.
It's all I've been talking about in the past weeks, it seems. And then we're going to talk about the nodal axis changing signs going into Aries and Libra. And then lastly, we're going to talk about Jupiter in Aries and Jupiter also moving into Taurus. So we're talking about the outside planets because they're the one that influence the most, let's say, the collective. And these are the bigger energies that we're going to look for. So very excited about this because I think the Woo community is going to be very interested about those specific topics, because I feel like it talks to us even more directly this year. So let's start with Pluto going in Aquarius. Okay, so Pluto, I think, is such an important transit because, first of all, it moves the slowest in our solar system. So as of March, Pluto's going to leave the sign of Capricorn. So the destruction of all Capricornian structures, so let's say governments, big corporations, using the old pyramidal model, will be over for a while when it leaves Capricorn. And I know it's going to ingress Aquarius and then go back a little bit into Capricorn, but let's talk more generally. And then it's going to stay in the sign of Aquarius until 2044. So this is a very long transit. So every time Pluto leaves a sign, it almost always ushers a crisis in society. So for sure, we're going to feel this very much, especially because of the Saturn-Pluto conjunction we had in 2020, which ushered a lot of changes in society. I feel like this is going to be the final, I don't know if I could say nail in the coffin. Is that a good example?
Yeah, you could say that.
It's a bit scorpionic, but let's go with that one. So yeah, so Capricorn rules all top-down structures. So it was kind of revolutionizing all the Capricornian structures. And then moving into Aquarius, it's a whole totally new energy because Aquarius is interconnected and it deals with peer-to-peer transactions. Everybody's on an equal level and we're all collaborating with each other. So that's more the Aquarian model of, let's say, interacting together. So we're going to move in that. But first of all, as with every Pluto transit, Pluto is kind of, I call it the bulldozer type of energy in astrology. So I feel like, first of all, it brings up to the surface all the dirt about something we have to collectively look at it, first of all, and change and heal. So at the first of the transits, often it brings up a lot of, let's say, nasty stuff that we don't really want to look at. But then it gives us the potential to change stuff, to heal. And I don't know if you see it like that, Meg, but it's also a plan of revolution. Maybe not as much as Uranus, but Scorpio is kind of the true, what's the word I'm looking for? Not revolutionary, but rebel. That's the word.
Rebel, yeah.
Rebel. So Pluto is also kind of a rebel in its own way. So I feel like we're going to see that very much with this ingress into Aquarius. So when I said it's going to highlight all the dirt first, well, what is Aquarius about? It's about AI, it's about technology, it's about internet, it's about social media, freedom of speech, cryptos, science, and DNA manipulation. So first of all, yeah, it's like
taking a deep breath.
Yeah. So these are all themes that Aquarius rules. So first of all, Pluto can act as, let's say, the powers that be, power that were, regardless of how you see it, can use this Pluto energy to further control populations using technology, using cryptos, using internet, using the lack of freedom of speech. So that could be one way that it could play out. And then for sure, as a collective, we'll have the choice of rebelling. Pluto, the big rebel. So I believe at first it's possible that many attempts to further control populations will be made. And as I said here, it will be up to the people to reject them and move on to a more sovereign expression of the Aquarian and Plutonian archetypes, which also both talk about big revolution, rebelling against authorities and becoming your own authority. And lastly, on this slide, I wrote the big die off. I think it's an expression Cliff uses a lot. So I think it's during this transit that this might happen. Pluto being the planet of death and rebirth. Aquarius is, in mundane astrology, is the planet of the people, the common people. So we could be seeing a lot of passing in our society. Very sadly, but I'm just going to mention everything since we're talking about astrology.
Yeah.
And then I wrote a couple of other themes that I think could come up during this very long transit of Pluto in Aquarius. So it's a 20 years transit. So I put like the archetypal meaning of Pluto together with the archetypal meaning of Aquarius, and I'm trying to find what could come up. So first, rebirth, because Pluto is the planet of rebirth, of the true sense of freedom, because Aquarius is all about regaining our freedom as a society, as a collective. And we could be seeing a lot of self-organizing collectives, suck as Cliff High calls it. So a lot of people organizing themselves in like smaller communities and doing their own thing. Also, I wrote revolutions and big societal rebellions. The last time Pluto was in Aquarius, we had the French revolutions. So it says a lot about like about what could happen. Let's pray it's going to be a
Yeah.
more peaceful revolution.
Mhm.
But for sure, we're going to have to put our foot down at one point and manifest our destiny, right, Meg?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
To use one of your episodes. So also Aquarius rules cryptocurrencies. So I believe a lot of cryptocurrencies could be exposed, especially the ones
Mm.
that are linked to corruptions, because we know some specific cryptocurrencies are linked to uh, like all the corruption around the world. We had the FTX scandal recently. And also, Pluto is kind of a death and rebirth. So, a lot of cryptos could be seeing a total reset of their value with this transit. Also, I wrote revealing the transhumanism agenda, right? Because Aquarius deals with technology, new technology, but also trying to transform the human more looking like a robot. So we're in the midst of that, but Pluto, it's kind of the big revealer in that. So I feel like it could reveal a lot of this agenda for the people that are not aware of what's going on, of like the deeper agenda pushing all the new laws and the medical the medical rules. It's just
Mhm.
and then something that I think you guys are going to find very interesting is that Aquarius, in my opinion, is also linked to ET. ET, all sorts of ET groups. So it could be revealing a lot of corruption also in ET groups and ET agendas in the, let's say, contactees world. We had one court case recently about that. It could be the start of many more coming, I feel, because a lot of those groups have been infiltrated, and we could be seeing them for what they are really with this Pluto energy in Aquarius. And I feel that it's going to prepare us for even more true ET disclosure after that. But Pluto first reveals what is corrupted, what no longer works in society before we can have true disclosure. Also, I wrote the technology patents coming out. So we could be seeing a lot of repressed technology that have been repressed for a long time coming out with this Pluto and Aquarius transit. As we said earlier, people more interested in astrology. So yay.
Yay.
Then I wrote exposing the corruption of big tech. Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
already on the way, I believe. And more positively, I feel like we're going to have a big jump in consciousness because Pluto rules DNA and Aquarius is like a fast upgrade, fast energy upgrade. So I feel like we could have a lot of DNA upgrades, even more, because I believe we already have one. We already have some. So I feel like it could be a more important period for getting more, let's say, spiritually activated. And lastly, I wrote using energy to heal because Aquarius rules energy and how we use it, and Pluto is the big healer. So it also rules miracle healing. So we could be seeing a lot of new healing modalities. And I believe after this transit, we will be living longer. But that's just my personal.
Ooh.
Do you have anything else to add to that?
Oh my gosh, it's so much, isn't it? Just like
Right.
everything you just talked about is so much. That in itself in the astrology with this Pluto and Aquarius. And yeah, I really feel it's funny because I wanted to bring something up that actually one of the comments by Ben D. Rocks, he
Yes.
said, in 2023, will the overlapping realities of old world slash new world end? Thus, the new timeline will dominate. And I was feeling that right before he said that. And I was feeling right before you started talking about Pluto and Aquarius, like Dolores Cannon's work,
Yeah.
and she's not the only one that talks about it, but the old earth and the new earth. And there's also in properties, indigenous prophecies, they talk about that
Yeah.
too, that there's going to be these two earth timelines that split.
Right.
And Ben D. Rocks, I'm feeling the same thing, that this is the year where the timelines split. And I think that's very Aquarian when we're talking about timelines, and also Pluto, because it's
Right.
death, it's splitting, it's death, it's cutting, right? It's cleansing. So I do feel like if you're listening to this video and you're in this community with us, we're okay. We're on the higher timeline. Okay. And like Corey Jade, someone else, one of our friends here called Corey Jade in the chat said, so will this be good or bad to what we're talking about? It's good. We're good. We're on the higher timeline, but we're through this process of cleansing. We have to go through the cleansing process first. And I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, Julie, but the way that I've been taught is when Pluto is in the first few degrees of the sign or the last few degrees of the sign, it's kind of the most intense,
Yeah.
right? So we're in this period where it's like the most intense cleansing of that old timeline, the old earth and the new earth. So
Wow.
we're good, but it's going to be trippy. It's going to be
Wow.
trippy. And like Julie said, yes, JC said the Hopi prophecies. Thank you. That's what it is. The Hopi prophecies also is in total alignment with Dolores Cannon's work. If you guys have never heard of Dolores Cannon, check her out. Amazing woman.
Definitely.
Um, so yeah, did that make sense? I just lost my train of
Totally.
thought.
Totally. And you know what's funny about that? I wanted to ask you another question when we were going into oh, I think you're okay, you're back. You just froze for a
Oh,
second.
okay, I'm
Um
back.
when we're gonna talk about the Saturn transit in Pisces, I was going to ask you because in astrology, time is ruled by Saturn. So I was going to ask you, what do you think is going to happen with the way we view time for it to ingress into the sign of Pisces, which is kind of the
Mhm.
solution of anything that's material. So what do you think about that?
I think that that's like Ben D. Rocks brought up, that's timelines ending.
Yeah.
I think while Pluto is in Aquarius, our calendar is going to change.
Hmm.
I think in 2024 or 2025, when Pluto has, left Aquarius and gone into Pisces, we're in a completely different world. The systems of our world are completely different because Aquarius, even though its modern day ruler, right, is Uranus, right? Its ancient ruler, traditional ruler is Saturn, the keeper of time. So
Hmm. Yeah.
Aquarius in a way too is also about time. And then Saturn and Pisces also bringing up what's going to happen with the time with Saturn going into Pisces. I think there I think there may be, like you were talking about Aquarius, different communities starting. Like there could be something
Yeah.
really different happening in this part of the world compared to this other part of the world. We might start being on different times, different calendars, which if you think about in the old days, the ancient times of our ancestors, they were all on different calendars. They weren't on the same calendar,
Totally. And
right?
makes sense because Pisces is like the end of something.
Right.
So it would make total sense that we're finishing this timeline, the 3D timeline. I don't know how we
Mhm.
can call it, but yeah.
Yeah,
Wow. That's
very
crazy. I
cool.
love
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
So talking about this Saturn, our friend
Mhm.
Saturn, do you
Our
want to
friend
go into
Saturn.
our friend? I've
Yeah.
started to like this guy because we got a lot of Saturn energy in the past years.
Uh-huh.
So
Well,
do you want to go? Yeah, go ahead.
sure, yeah. So, yeah, we've got not only Pluto entering Aquarius in 2023, we've got Saturn, the other malefic planet, entering Pisces in 2023. And the word malefic in astrology, we use that because Pluto and Saturn have a lot to do with kind of the more challenging sides of life. Pluto is death and rebirth and crisis, and Saturn is the lord of karma, and he can be challenging and he's about hard work. And so that's why we call them malefic. They're not like Venus and Jupiter that are the benefic planets. So this is really big year, these two malefics changing signs. And Saturn is going into Pisces on March 7th, 2023, and he will be straight through Pisces until May 24th, 2025. And then he's going to be going back into Pisces August 31st, 2025 to February 13th, 2026. So it's until February 13th, 2026, right, Julie? The full Saturn in Pisces transit, right?
Yep.
And this is a super interesting transit because Saturn, like we've been talking about, I call him Granddaddy Saturn to lighten him up because he can be
Love it.
really, really heavy. Saturn rules heaviness in life. Saturn is like this old elder on our backs, trying to teach us how to be responsible, trying to teach us how to work hard, what responsibility is, what discipline is. That's the energy of Saturn. So he's really one of the most grounded planets, if not the most grounded planet, going into Pisces, which is the most ungrounded planet. I mean, sorry, sign. Would you
Yeah.
agree with that, Julie?
Oh yeah, totally, totally.
Like the absolute most ungrounded sign, Pisces.
Yeah. There's a
And
disconnect for sure.
there is a disconnect. So these are two really different energies with each other, right? Saturn rules the structures of life, control systems and structures, and Pisces is completely unstructured. It's creativity, it's spiritual connection, it's sensitivity, emotional and spiritual sensitivity and connection. So what does that mean, Saturn in Pisces? Well, first of all, I want to say congratulations to everyone who is a Saturn and Aquarius like me, because we're going to be done our Saturn return. Okay. So March 7th, we can have some champagne or kombucha, however you want to
Yay!
celebrate. Yay. We're done our Saturn return. And the Saturn return is this transit that we have every 27 to 29 years when Saturn comes back into the same sign it was when we were born. And we don't have that with Pluto, right, Julie? Because Pluto takes over 240
Yeah.
years to do its solar orbit. So,
Maybe we're gonna have a Pluto return in
ooh,
the
okay.
next, few years. Let's hope
Yeah,
so.
that's a very good point. That would be really, really interesting. Actually, I never thought about that before. But yeah, we all have at least usually one or two or even three Saturn returns in our lifetime, depending how long we live. And the first Saturn return is always the hardest. So really, congratulations, you guys, to all my fellow, 1991 to 1994 babies, because we're now in adulthood. Okay. And I know this sounds kind of funny, but in astrology, in natural time, we actually don't become adults until we've finished our first Saturn return. Okay. So the modern society likes to program us that, when you're 19 or when you're the legal age, right? That matrix legal age, you are now an adult, right? When you can join the military or when you can drive or when you can drink. But that's all a made up matrix thing. It's actually naturally when Saturn returns to where it was when we were born, he initiates us. And it's actually a challenging time in life. I'm going to be honest with you guys. And I don't want to go on and on about the Saturn return, but it
We
is
could do
important.
a whole
Yeah,
episode on
we can do a
Saturn.
whole yeah, that would be a really good episode, but just to let you guys know, because there will be a lot of you that are born between these years, okay? So if you're born between February 6th, 1991 and January 28th, 1994, we've done our first Saturn return. Woohoo! So now we're adults. Saturn has initiated us. We're more responsible. We are now in our adulthood. If you're born from January 3rd, 1962 to December 16th, 1964, yay, you've just completed your second Saturn return. So you're now entering kind of your wise phase, that next stage of life, the cronehood or the elder stage. And if you're born from 1932 to, I didn't write it in my notes what the other year is, probably from 1932 to like 1935, if I'm right, you just had your third Saturn return. So you're really, really wise. You're very actually like a Saturnian person on the planet that's an elder that deserves to be respected. You're now in the place of elderhood, right? So everyone who has Saturn in Pisces, you're entering your Saturn return, whether that's your first one, second one, third one, and you're
Yay.
being initiated. This isn't a huge initiation time. So yeah, maybe it's a good idea, Julie, that maybe we should do a whole other video on that because
Yeah.
that's a lot to get into, right?
And I had my Saturn square last year. Oh my God. Yeah.
Ooh. Oh my
That
God.
that was kind of a similar energy, I think, but I had to work a lot. But it was
God.
great for starting a structure. But yeah.
Yeah.
So
Man, Saturn
there's
makes
a
us work.
square every, let's say 7.5 years, and then every 15 years you'll have a Saturn opposition, and every 30
Mhm.
you'll have a return. So
Yeah.
these are important markers for
Oh my
sure.
God. We actually definitely should do a whole
Okay,
video on Saturn because
deal.
that's so important. Okay. Yeah, deal. So, okay, but specifically for Saturn in Pisces. So, we're coming from Saturn in Aquarius, which is actually Aquarius's traditional ruler. So, Saturn likes to be in Aquarius, okay? Even though we've had the whole situation of the past 3 years and how crazy that was, really, from the divine perspective, Saturn made that happen for a reason. I know this is kind of hard for some of us to hear, but that was like Saturn making us go through what we just went through the past 3 years of society getting shut down, being red pilled, all that stuff. That's a lot of Saturn and Aquarius energy. That was a Saturn initiation that we all went through with Saturn in one of its home signs, right? Now we've got Saturn in, to be honest with you guys, like a sign that it doesn't really like to be in. So this is where it gets interesting. Pisces is the spiritual realm, creativity, music, mystics, also victimhood, hospitals, people that are sick, drugs, drug addicts. It's everything that is not of this world in the planet that rules the systems of this world. So I really feel like, and I'd be interested to hear what you think, Julie. I think that this is going to feel really so different. March 7th, it's like we're entering another world until February 13th, 2026, where I think it may feel really dreamlike. We may feel really spacey a lot of the time. And it's like we don't even need to drink necessarily or smoke weed or do drugs. Like if you're just tuned in to the natural energy of what's going on, it's really kind of spacey, like Pisces. And I love you guys that are Pisces out there. Don't want to knock you guys that are Pisces, but you guys like to talk like this and you guys talk like, oh my God, we're talking about astrology and it's so amazing. They act like they're on drugs a lot of the time. If you're a Pisces sun, moon, or rising, and you guys are so magical. I love you guys, but I hope you get what I mean by that.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
we're going to be, I think, feeling like that overall, like feeling really like, oh, I'm into spirituality and this feels good. And, getting really like a lot of spirituality coming into the structures of life.
Yeah.
Okay. Which is great. But even though Pisces rules spirituality, it also rules illusions. So I think part of this Saturn and Pisces, one of my predictions is that the real spiritual guides, the real spiritual channelers will be revealed. And the false ones are also going to be revealed.
I love
Because
that.
it's very easy to talk in this voice, and we're gonna all ascend to the 8th dimension. All you have to do is drink this
Right.
green juice every single day. It's like it's easy to talk like that,
Yeah.
and it feels good to hear someone talk like that, but is it actually for everyone's highest good?
Spiritual bypassing, I think
Yes,
is
that's
the
the term.
yeah.
That's the term, spiritual bypassing.
Yeah.
So that's
Totally.
gonna be coming up huge, spiritual bypassing. I think I mentioned on the first show that I came on with you and Jean-Claude and Janine and Jean-Claude's Rumble show, that I think that mystics are going to come back into the governments and the structures system. And they already are there because politicians already use astrologers. They have the whole time, they never stopped, right?
Right.
And the politicians that we have now do a lot of the dark arts, right? So it's a lot of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be shifting from that more use of the dark arts in government to more of the light arts again,
Mhm.
like we used to do. And, Saturn rules laws and regulations and restrictions. So I think even though it's going to become more accepted in the mainstream spirituality as well as religion, there's still going to be religions, but more the spirituality, right? The natural ways coming back. Um, I also think that there's possibly going to be restrictions from that old world system trying to grasp the last grasps of, having their power. So the
Yeah.
countries, do you get what I'm saying? Like the
Yeah.
countries that still might be having those politicians or government systems that are still trying to be in power and manipulate us in a negative way. I'm actually really feeling I'm getting kind of like a full body yes right now that they're going to try to. I'm just going to say this. Okay, I don't want this to happen, but they're going to try to ban astrology. They're going to try to ban
Mm.
all this stuff.
Well, like Saturn for sure talks about regulations in Pisces
Right.
spiritual arts. So yeah, that's for sure a big possibility.
Yeah. So, not that I want that to happen, but
Mm.
regulations of spirituality, right?
Mm.
But this is what's so great about the Pluto and Aquarius is we're going to create new systems. So, this whole system we've been in is dying. They're going to try to censor us, they're going to try to regulate us, but we're creating new systems. So, it won't even be relevant anymore. It's just going to die
Yeah.
on its own, right? And that's interesting what you said earlier as well, Julie. Pisces is the last sign in the zodiac. And even though it's not Scorpio, the ruler of death, it does represent endings,
Yeah.
right? So Saturn in Pisces is some sort of huge endings in
Yeah.
the systems and structures, right?
Yeah.
So I also think on a more positive note, there's going to be amazing music and art and films and literature coming up over the next 3 years, like big time, because Pisces is the most creative sign. And the last time Saturn was in Pisces, we had the whole 90s music scene of grunge, right? Kurt
Right.
Cobain and Nirvana and that whole rock revival and 90s dance music, which is so great. And lots of really cool films came out in the 90s. So it's going to be great for anyone who's in the arts or anyone that wants to be creative. And I also think another big thing is drugs. Actually, Pisces
Yeah.
rules drugs.
Yeah.
So I think there may be some sort of new drug available to the public or regulations of new drugs.
Yeah.
Right. So that's actually something I want to warn you guys about. I mean, do whatever resonates with you, but just be really, what's the right word? When you're trying to look at something in a perceptive way. Oh my God, I'm having a brain fart.
Oh, I feel you, Meg. It's been my whole
Oh, what's that word?
Mercury retrograde 3
Yeah.
weeks.
Just, I forget what the word is, but be really mindful of what's being thrown your way that's trying to look really sexy and amazing and magical, like the coolest drug ever. And you can go down over here to Costa Rica and do it. But then you do it, and then you got like an entity attached to you that you can't get rid of for 5 years, like stuff like that.
Oh.
So, this is where, oh, that's the word. Be very discerning
Oh, that's
of
the word I had, but I'm like,
that's
for
the
sure it's
word.
not this word.
Yeah. Be very discerning, okay, of drugs, plant medicine at this time, who you do that. Yes, thank you, Connie Phillips. Discernment, ESM, you said discernment. Everybody, thank you. Please use discernment. That would actually be a great keyword for Saturn in Pisces. Please use discernment with what the governments are throwing out at us, with what celebrities are going to be throwing out at us, right? Because they're kind of Piscean too, wouldn't you say,
Mhm.
Julie?
Oh, yeah.
And all the druggy kind of things that are going to be thrown at us. Be very discerning with that. So, yeah,
Yeah.
is there anything else you think I'm missing with Saturn and Pisces?
No, it was great. I was just thinking while you were talking that, on a more personal level, Saturn is always a teacher in some sort of form. So going through Pisces, so I feel like the universe is pushing us to go be more disciplined about our spiritual journey. So for some people, it might mean starting a spiritual journey. For other people, it might be being more consistent with it, going deeper. It's like I feel like it's a big initiation type of energy in the sign of Pisces. So I feel like this is maybe the higher frequency of Saturn in Pisces, but maybe the lower for people that don't, let's say, want to confront their shadows, are not ready for this big internal work, might get more attracted to other ways of checking out of reality, which are
Yeah.
also Pisces, like you were talking about drugs, about any ways of escapism, basically can be Pisces.
Right.
So yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, totally. I agree with that. And I also feel like something I forgot to say is victimhood.
Right.
Pisces rules being a victim, and Saturn likes to challenge us in certain ways and make things, certain world situations for us collectively difficult, try to teach us something. And like when we're going in our Saturn return, it's very easy when we're in the Saturn return to be in a victim mindset. Like, oh, this is so hard. I'm in my Saturn return and oh, whatever. I'm just not going to go for my dreams because this feels too hard, right? Saturn and Pisces, I think a really big test is going to be, are you going to be in your victimhood, or are you going to rise above the challenges that we're going to face, what's going to be thrown at us by the Saturn old power structures dying, and let's step into the Aries energy of creating something new being offered this year. Let's
I love
not
that.
go into the victimhood, because
I love
it's going
that.
to be so easy to go into that, watching systems crash that we've grown up with, right? This is too hard. I'm just going to go to a forest and delete all my social media and, just
And
never
use
see anyone again.
spirituality to feel better and feel happy,
Right.
and not to use it the other way around, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's going to be a very interesting one. And I also feel like the first couple months of that Saturn in Pisces, anyone who is a Pisces, sun, moon, or rising, I think you're going to need to do a lot of extra grounding work. I've been feeling that really strong because you
Mm,
guys are already so open
yeah.
to then have Saturn, ruler of our structures, in Pisces. It's like, what are the Pisces going to be holding on to here? You
Yeah, they'll
know?
have to get, yeah, this earth energy of the opposing sign of Virgo. So more grounding, as you said.
Right.
Good
Yeah.
point. I just want to thank everybody for sending us super chats. We love you. Thank you so much for your support. We appreciate it so much. And we're going to pick a question at the end of our live that we're going to answer, Meg and I. So thank you very much, everybody. And I just wanted to share with you guys, we just added a lot of shows on the Maison Jupiter channel and also on the Beyond Mystic channel. So I saw a comment today during your live, Meg, oh, I'm going to need a schedule to keep up with all those shows. I don't want to miss any. So I was like, okay, I'll make one. So this is
Yeah.
what I did in the past hour. So I just wanted to go over that quickly with you guys. So a new show on Monday at noon on the Beyond Mystic YouTube channel will be, well, it's already started. It's the Beyond Tarot show with Sophie. So she's going through the energies of the week with tarot and oracle cards. And then on Tuesday, starting next week at noon Eastern time, we're going to have Solretta doing the energies, a more kind of a woo-woo perspective of pulling oracle cards for the collective. So that's also going to be super interesting. I'm sorry if you hear noises in the background. I can still kind of blame it on Mercury retrograde, but sorry about that, guys. And then on Thursday, we have the Pick a Card Thursdays with Sophie on the Maison Jupiter YouTube channel. So there's going to be a new one tomorrow at noon. And very new, starting next week, we're going to have the Beyond Harmony with Elena. So she's going to help us release all the stress from the week in a very quick meditation and bowl singing activation. So really looking forward to that one also. So here I put our show, Astro Decode, every 2 weeks, Wednesday at 4 p.m. ET. And tomorrow, also at 4 p.m., we're going to have the Jean-Claude and Janine Rumble show on Beyond Mystics Rumble. And there's a slight change for this week, so I put it here. And next week also. So next Monday will be on a Rumble. So it's going to be the Jean-Claude and Janine Rumble show at 8. On every Tuesday, we have the Divine Feminine Oracle show with Jean-Claude, Sophie, and myself. That's both on Beyond Mystic and Maison Jupiter. And finally, on Wednesdays, there's the Beyond the News show with Jean-Claude and Janine, and that's on beyondmystic.net. It's a pay-per-view or for the Insider Access Pass. So thank you so much, guys.
Looks great, Julie.
Thank you. And even for me, I was like, I think I'm gonna need a schedule because it's a lot now, but it's so cool. We're starting this new we're a TV channel almost. I love it.
Some people are saying that in the comments. Someone just said you're replacing network TV. I'm sorry, I didn't see the name of who said that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I hope we can find it. Yeah, well, that's the goal, right? So let's go for independent content.
Yeah.
Thank you for everybody supporting us, by the way, for creating those independent content. So moving forward with the next aspect that we had. So this one is going to be the nodal axis change that's going to change to the Aries Libra axis. I think it's the one I'm the most looking forward to. I don't know why.
Me too, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
I kind of I love change. I have a lot of mutable signs in my birth chart. I have a lot of Sag and I have a Virgo too. So I think mutable signs are easier adaptable to all changes. So the North Node is going to be in the sign of Aries. So that's going to be, I'm going to put the slide up so you guys can follow up with me. So that's going to start in July, so mid-2023 until January of 2025. So it's always a year and a half transits for the nodal axis. So both the South Node and the North Node are moving together along the zodiac. So collectively, what does it mean? Well, it means that we're going to have to embody or include even more of the higher frequencies of the Aries archetype, because the North Node will be there for a year and a half. And then we're letting go of the lower frequency aspects of the Libra archetype. So let's go over that. So first of all, North Node in Aries, what does it mean? Well, we're all going to need to be more individualized. I feel like this process already started specifically in 2020, where we had this big test given to us by our elites and ruling people. So it was kind of an interesting social test in how we would comply or not comply to the rules. And I feel like this one is going to be the next leveling up of this evolutionary path. So separating even more from the herd, because you're trying to individualize as a soul, as a human being. So breaking free from other people's expectations and how you should live your life. And also, I feel like a lot of people are going to become entrepreneurs and have their own way of sustaining their lives, their family, their own projects. I feel like this is probably the most important quality we're going to all need to develop in the coming year and a half. And also, Aries deals with survival. So I feel like we're gonna all need to become to develop this survival skill set for what's to come. And why did I write survival? Because I feel like there is going to be so many changes on a society level, but also in our personal lives, because everything that happens in the macro always happens in the micro also. So we're going to need to find the tool set to adapt to those changes as best as we can. So that's why I wrote this kind of survival skill set. and also learn how to be this freedom fighter, to not be afraid to stand up for yourself, to not be afraid to fight for what you believe in. So that's another great quality of Aries. Aries is not afraid to have a conflict, to disagree with someone else. They don't search for outside validation. So that's a great quality that we'll need to integrate. Not necessarily being not being violent at all. That's not what we're looking for, of course. Not looking for conflict necessarily, but not fearing conflict in order to express your identity. So that's the big change here. And embracing change, I said that, and taking action, I feel, will be very, very much valued and recognized, because Aries is the pioneer energy, it's the fearless energy, and I feel like the universe always rewards the people that are going towards the North Node. So that's going to be an important trait to integrate. And what are we letting go of? Well, that's the Libran, let's say, lower frequencies. So first of all, I was thinking about the justice system being Libra. So I feel like the justice system as we know it might disappear. And the higher frequency of Libra is more of a divine justice than an earthly justice. And the South Node, it kind of depletes the energy, but it makes it more spiritual. So I feel like the justice system might change and become more attuned to divine justice, as opposed to, well, the way it is right now, which is not not attuned to divine justice. Let's just and so another important aspect of Libra is relationships. So this is interesting. I feel like, well, first of all, the Aries and Libra axis is the relationship axis. So once you change yourself, Aries, your identity, your goals, and you go through this metamorphosis of your identity, ego, yourself, of course it's going to change the way you relate to other people, because it's the mirror sign of Aries. This is Libra. So once you change yourself, then your outside world and your relationship are going to need to change too. Doesn't mean that you're necessarily breaking up if you're in a relationship, but I mean that your dynamic is going to change for sure. So I feel like a lot of relationships that are not aligned with our spiritual path may end because of this South Node that's going to be in Libra. Also, the let's say shadow side of Libra is being shallow. So it could be like shallow relationships may fade away. Also, to me, it's the cult of beauty that's being propelled by a lot of influencers. So I feel like those kind of influencers will lose a lot of fame during this transit, because we're not going to be so impressed by like shallow beauty. We're going to need more from the people we're putting on pedestals. Also, I feel like this peer pressure that we've experienced in the past years, and this kind of people-pleasing type of energy that's the shadow side of Libra, will be less predominant, so losing a lot of power. And then I feel like the other thing I wrote is complete metamorphosis of social etiquette. So the way it's accepted to act in society, in a relationship, in groups, I feel like this will change a lot. So because we're moving from the herd to become more individuated humans. What do you think, Meg?
I think you just explained that so well, better than I could have explained that. And yeah, it really starts with ourself, right? We have to be really in our own body, Aries, really in our own value, even though Taurus is the sign of values, it's the one right after Aries, which is self. And I do feel like Aries has a lot to do with values too. We have to know ourselves, know our power before we can have healthy relationships.
Hmm.
So, what you just said about relationships falling away with the South Node in Libra, yeah, there's going to be a lot of breakups and friendships changing and relationships changing for
Yeah.
the better.
Yeah. Those that are not attuned with
Right.
who we're striving to become, for sure.
Mhm. Mhm.
For sure. So that's going to be a year and a half transit starting in July. So very interesting. And while we're waiting for that transit to start, we're also having Jupiter in Aries, right? So
Yeah.
a lot of this Aries energy during 2023, which I love, by the way.
Mhm.
So let's go into that, Meg. Do you want to start
Okay.
with? Let me change the slide here. Yay!
Sure. Yeah. So this is really kind of the first Aries thing that we've got going on this year, Jupiter in Aries, that started on December 20th, 2022. And Jupiter is going to be in Aries until May 16th, 2023. And like Julie was talking about with the North Node, South Node shift, the North Node also going into Aries, right, in July. But then also the first eclipse that we have in 2023 is also in Aries and
Mm-hmm.
at 29 degrees, a critical degree. So I'm excited to talk with you about that in the future because this is actually like three really big Aries energies going on this year,
Very true. I
right?
forgot the eclipse, but you're totally right. Yes, let's
And
do another episode on the
yeah,
eclipses.
we'll have to do that. So the eclipses are such a big deal and at a critical degree. And so, first of all, this is what we've got going on right now, the Jupiter in Aries. Pluto in Aquarius, Saturn in Pisces, that comes in March. And then, the North Node, South Node shift comes in July. And the Jupiter in Aries started on December 20th, 2022, like I said. So Jupiter, everyone knows, is like lucky Jupiter, right? It rules in astrology luck and optimism, positivity, abundance, expansion. It's the ruler of Sagittarius, right? And it's also our beliefs and higher knowledge, learning and teaching. And so Jupiter's really interesting because it's like expansion and optimism and positivity and abundance, but also higher knowledge, which is a
Mm.
little bit serious, right? Like higher sacred knowledge, higher philosophical knowledge, learning and teaching. And when we've got Jupiter in Aries, Jupiter expands whatever it's touching. So, whatever sign it's in, whatever Jupiter is aspecting in astrology, right, it expands it. So, we're actually having an expansion in the Aries energy right now. So, this is our, like Julie was talking about, the Aries energy. It's the sign that is symbolized, the archetype is the warrior, our inner warrior, the divine masculine, the protector. So I find this a really fascinating ingress for Jupiter because we just had Jupiter in Pisces, right? It's one of its home signs. Its traditional, Pisces traditional ruler is Jupiter, right? Before we discovered Neptune. And last year, we had a really rare aspect, which was Jupiter, traditional ruler of Pisces, and Neptune, modern day ruler of Pisces, conjunct.
Right.
So the positive of that is crazy spiritual awakening and so many people having a spiritual awakening at the same time. But then the negative side of Pisces is disillusionment. So we've seen the craziest brainwashing campaigns of our lives and mind control of our lives, right? So this Jupiter in Aries is we're stepping out of that now. We're stepping out of what I've been calling the Piscean spell that has been casted over us by the bad guys, right? And we're now being initiated by Jupiter into the Aries energy of snapping out of really the mind control we've been under and into our inner warrior. And there's different sides to the warrior, right? We can be in that kind of warriorship of where we don't have to get violent, right? Or we could get violent and go crazy and tear the whole house down and, all that. So, Jupiter in Aries, a lot of this Aries theme we're talking about is we could act that out in a very violent kind of way, or be in the higher octave frequency of that, which is our masculine energy of protection and bravery and confidence of our communities and ourselves. And we don't have to go into this crazy kind of conflict physically, right? It might go there. Okay, we might see some of that because there is so much Aries, and Jupiter is in Aries, and Jupiter expands it, right? But
Right.
Jupiter's a positive planet at the end of the day. It's not like Saturn, it's not like Pluto, it's a positive planet. So we're being invited with this Jupiter and Aries transit, guys, to connect to our inner warrior, that archetype within all of us, and what that means to us. And what are we standing for in our lives? I feel with this Jupiter and Aries, it's like, what do you stand for? What will you fight for? Not physically, but just fight with your being and who you are, right? What you're resonating as. What will you fight for? What matters to you? Aries is such a passionate sign. So this is, we're getting life force being activated for us again after this Piscean activation of Neptune and Jupiter conjunct in Pisces. And it's also about protection. It's also about what we're letting into our field, what we feed ourselves with. You know, Aries is the first sign in the zodiac, so it's about ourself. If you guys know anyone who's an Aries, I love Aries. I'm surrounded by a lot of Aries. They like what they like. They're not afraid to tell you, and they're not afraid to say, nope, I don't want that. Or nope, that doesn't work for me. Like Aries just is the best at saying no, actually. I think Aries is
Oh,
the best at saying no
it's
if something
true.
doesn't work for them. So it's like, you know, if something doesn't work for us with the control systems, what we're going through collectively, we're all as a group with this Jupiter and Aries going to be more on the same page. Like, nope, that doesn't work for us, you know. And there may be control systems. Well, if you don't do this, then we're going to take this away from you. But with Jupiter and Aries and the eclipse coming in Aries and the North Node in Aries, it's Aries will say to that, so what? What are you going to do? Aries will
Right.
say, come here. What are you going to do? Right? Aries can be a little bit feisty, right? They're not afraid of a fight. So this is another thing. People are going to be maybe a little bit more feisty overall. So we got to be aware of that inner warrior within us, and what we're standing for, and that we can stand up very easily right now for the right things. It can go in kind of a more conflict way, but we can use it in the positive way. And I think we are going to use it in the positive way because it is Jupiter. And JC is commenting, just say no. LOL. Exactly.
This is a
Exactly.
famous Aries right there.
Yeah.
A very
Yeah.
famous one.
I actually wonder if Chris Sky is an Aries, that
Huh?
Canadian activist who popularized the just say no, right?
I don't know.
Um, I would guess that he is an Aries if I had to guess, because this is really the systems that have been in control in this dark age of Pisces that we've been in. They want us to not be empowered, which is Aries empowerment. They're
Mm.
trying to do all these Piscean spells to try to not make us empowered. When the truth is, all we have to do, like JC is just saying here, it sounds so simple, but it's true, is just say no. No, that doesn't work for me. That doesn't work for my family. And that doesn't work for my community. And I don't care what the consequences are, because the greatest protection is when I properly say no.
And you know what? Like the South Node in Libra, also, I feel like it's going to break that spell even more because of wanting to comply, because we want to feel accepted by other people. So that's going to disappear. It's going to lose so much power
Mm,
that a lot of people that yet have not found the strength to step up for themselves regarding what they want or what they don't want. I feel like this transit will be like, no, that's
yeah.
not what I want
Mhm.
anymore. Maybe, hopefully.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. People, totally what you just said. People are coming back into their self empowerment. And Aries is also, I find, really about common sense. Aries are really good at common sense. Like it
Mm,
doesn't have to be totally woo-woo all the time. It's also like, does that make common sense or not? Okay, if it does, that's probably best for the collective. If it doesn't, no. And I will fight until my dying breath to protect the common sense. I kind of find that with Aries too.
Very true.
The other big thing with Jupiter and Aries is this is expanding that Aries quality of fearlessness and just going for life. So something that I've been really noticing with a lot of us light workers right now, or star seeds, whatever you want to call ourselves, is we're feeling called to actually step into very interesting positions, roles, do things that are not the norm that the matrix has programmed us to do. So yes, those inner programs within ourselves, when we feel those things from our heart and our intuition saying, go for it, go do that dream. That's your heart's desire. Those programs are going, no, don't do that. That's not right. That's not successful. You won't make money from that, right? But Aries is about fearlessness. Go for it. Go for your dreams. It is your gift. Your talents are your gift to share with the world. Your things that light you up on the inside are your gifts to share with the world. And Aries is about just going for life fearlessly and not caring what anybody thinks and enjoying life while we're here, because we're not going to be here forever. And it's a gift to be here. It's a gift to be alive, right? Aries is being born, life. So yeah, I think all this Aries energy we've got going on is great for independence, empowerment. And another thing too is Jupiter rules abundance and can also show us areas that are really good for investments, right? And Aries rules all things that have to do with protection. Okay. So there's probably some things I probably can't say here on YouTube, right? But you guys get what I'm saying, okay? Anything that has to do with protection, really good investments right now. Not that you necessarily have to use those things, but they're going up in value. Jupiter in Aries, up in value.
I just did my training for having a license. You guys should hurry up with that. Yeah.
Awesome.
Wow.
So cool.
And I just wanted to add, we talked about the Aries being so great with boundaries. Do you think it's also the sign of physical activity? So I'm thinking maybe also the universe is kind of pushing us in order to have a more, let's say, disciplined physical routine in order to strengthen our boundaries. Do you think it makes sense with the Jupiter and Aries transit?
Yeah, I think totally. It's definitely about boundaries and having clear boundaries. Totally what you just said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's continue this amazing Jupiter transit with the next sign. So
Jupiter in Taurus, right? So Jupiter is not in Aries for the whole year. It's only going to be there till May 16th or May 15th. Then we've got Jupiter going into Taurus, May 16th, 2023, all the way till May 25th, 2024. So we are still going to have that Aries influence with the North Node in Aries, right? Until that's going to be until what? The end of 2024, Julie, or the beginning of 2025?
May 2024.
May 2024.
Yeah.
North Node in Aries, yeah.
No, sorry.
It starts July 18th,
so
right?
it means end of 2025, sorry.
And you're right, end of 2025. Yeah. So that's our higher purpose. That's what we're going to be focusing on, that Aries energy. So that's another thing we'll have to do a whole other video on when that North Node starts coming, right? But Jupiter in Taurus, Jupiter's going to shift out of Aries. He's like really activating us to supercharge into that Aries vibration before the North Node goes in Aries and before that first eclipse of the year is in Aries in 2023. Then Jupiter goes into Taurus, which is softer. And my rising is Taurus, so I know a lot about it. It's like more relaxed. And I'm just going to sit here with my kombucha and watch the whole world just fall apart while I eat dark chocolate and kombucha. Right.
I wish I could integrate some more Taurus energy.
Yeah. Taurus is so funny because it's like relaxed, and enjoyment. It's enjoying life. So I'm actually really excited for Jupiter to go into Taurus, because it's like gonna let us actually connect to to the internet, not the internet. Oh my God. The opposite, connect to Mother Earth and
Right.
nature more. We're going to be feeling this actually, and I'm actually feeling it in my body right now as I'm thinking about it, like a magnetic pull to be outside more, to be with the earth more, to be connected to Mother Earth's magnetic field. There's so much happening, especially when Pluto goes into Aquarius, Saturn and Pisces. These are really wild, once in a lifetime transits that can be ungrounding, you guys. It can be super ungrounding. So, Jupiter in Taurus is going to be reminding us to stay connected to the earth, to be staying connected. Jupiter is about our beliefs, right? So, it's going to become, I think, a really strong belief collectively for people that are open to it, to be even more connected to the earth and the things that are natural. Taurus rules what's natural, right? The food that's natural, activities that are natural. You guys can probably think what that is.
The pleasures of
Right?
the five
The
senses.
pleasures of the five senses. So it's about natural living, actually playing music, actually painting, a painting, doing things naturally instead of things always having to be on the internet, always having to be online. This is physical life. So I think that reinvigorated belief is really going to be coming up with Jupiter in Taurus. And it is a loving energy from the earth as well that I think we can tune into. It'll be a lot easier to hear Mother Earth if you go outside, put your ear on Mother Earth, listen to her, go swimming. You may actually hear her or feel her depending on what your psychic senses are that are open. This is a beautiful transit for being out in nature and seeing what that has to offer you, right? And it's also, I feel, because Taurus is kind of like the slowest moving sign. It can be lazy. Tauruses can be lazy, right? And I'm a Taurus rising, so I know all about that. Um, it's about, I think Jupiter in Taurus is asking us to have patience for the beautiful new world that is being birthed at this time. And that births take time and it's not going to be overnight. And this is a fake Piscean belief in the spiritual community. Then this is just my opinion. This is just what I feel. Okay.
Go ahead,
That,
Scorpio Meg.
yeah, my Scorpio side coming out. Okay. That we're all going to ascend to 5D overnight and we're not going to have bodies anymore. And yay, we're so special because I've had lifetimes on the Pleiades and I'm not going to have a body anymore in 5 months. Sorry, that's not happening. Taurus is our physical body. Taurus is the earth and the gifts of the earth. There's souls that are lining up to be alive right now, to be in a physical body, to witness these times physically. Being able to have a physical body is one of the most amazing soul experiences. So this is really Jupiter and Taurus being connected to the physical body, what feels good to the body, what it feels good when we're in nature, right? And just watching the show of everything playing out and being patient with that. And I also think sustainability is going to be really important at this time. Different sustainability efforts, I think, are going to be coming up that are totally new. And I know that there's already a lot of sustainability things coming up. There's a lot of fake sustainability,
Yeah.
environmentalism,
Yeah.
Klaus Schwab, thank you very much, right? But this Jupiter in Taurus is going to show real, it's going to expand Jupiter, real sustainable efforts. And Jupiter does rule abundance, right? So that would be something really cool to invest in at this time, actually. Things that have to do with the earth and keeping Mother Earth healthy and sustainable, but not in that weird, World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab way with the bugs and the electric cars, but the other ways.
Yeah.
And I think we maybe haven't even seen those ways yet. And they're going to start coming up from May 2023 to May 2024. Does that make sense how I explained that, Julie?
Oh yeah, that was
Yeah.
great. For sure. And I'm thinking, I don't know what your opinion is on that.
Mhm.
I try to make a lot of predictions about the value of gold and silver because I know a lot of people from this
Oh,
community are
yeah.
true believers, and I am too, of
Mhm.
precious metals. The sun, which is usually gold in astrology, is exalted in the sign of Aries. So Jupiter in Aries could be a good transit for the value of gold coming up. And then the moon is exalted in the sign of Taurus, which is silver. So Jupiter
Mhm.
then going into Taurus could also be the value of silver coming up. So I'm just putting it out there. I don't know what you think about it.
Yeah, I
So,
totally agree. Also crystals, right?
oh,
The
for
earth.
sure.
Crystals and minerals gonna be going up in value and gonna be really prized.
Oh,
JC's going,
wow.
"Silver."
Yeah.
Yeah, silver and gold, definitely. I think the price it might be we keep thinking, "When is that price gonna go up of silver and gold?" It could be when Jupiter's in Taurus,
Yeah.
right?
Because it favors anything that's more tangible. You can hold your wealth in your hands. It's land, is anything that's tangible. So yeah, that would make sense. And like every time I pulled card on it, it felt like gold would go up before
Mm.
silver. So that would also
Mm.
make sense with Jupiter passing through Aries and then Taurus.
Oh,
So
that
let's
does
see.
make sense. Oh, okay, yeah, that's cool.
Personally, I thought it was going to happen sooner than that. I thought last year we would see some more, let's say, inflation on silver prices and gold, but I kind of underestimated the Saturn Uranus square in
Mm,
artificially controlling the value of metals, because I believe the value is already went up, but the system was still trying to control those values as much as they
mhm.
could.
Yeah.
So, wow,
Mhm.
interesting year, right?
So much going on. Yeah. I just saw JC put in chat the link for the silver bar giveaway.
Okay, thank
So,
you, JC.
yeah, if anybody
Oh, right. You remind me of it. So it's on beyondmystic.net. The address is right here. So Jean-Claude is giving away 2 bars of silver. I believe it's one for US and one for Canada. So it's a 100-ounce bar, if I'm not mistaken. So no purchase necessary. This is a great contest. Last year, people were really happy about winning this bar. It's such a big bar too. It's like, I believe, this big.
Oh my
So
gosh.
it's a lot of silver. So it's a great
Nice.
contest. Thank you so much for reminding us, JC.
Yeah.
So I think it's the moment we're going to pick a question from the super chat. Thank you, everybody, for supporting us through the super chat and all your comments also. Um, okay, let's go with this question from Dawn. So Dawn is asking, she's been seeing multiples of 4 this month. What does that mean? And she says, I'm a double Libra.
Wow.
So do you want to take a stab at this question first?
Sure. So, 4 to me, following kind of the angel numbers, teachings is the number that represents the angels and our spirit guides and support. So, when we see a lot of 4s, it's definitely angelic support that's with us, even Archangel Michael, maybe letting you know that you're protected and guided and that you can call upon the angels, guides, whatever beings resonate with you for support. They're always available to assist you, and I'm actually just feeling they're waiting for you to maybe talk to them, Dawn, a little bit more if you haven't already. You're totally divinely supported and protected by the angelic realm and your guides. And yeah.
I love that. And I just pull up the chart for Libra rising for right now. And Jupiter is entering in your 7th house because you're a Libra rising. So for all the people that are Libra rising, Jupiter entered your 7th house. So it's the house of help. So it's kind of
Mm.
asking, you can either ask your spirit guides for any kind of help you need, because Jupiter is the great benefactor of astrology. It's a great guide, it's a great mentor. And I feel like not only can you ask your guides, but also the universe is probably going to provide some help in your life in the form of someone you're going to meet. Jupiter entering your 7th house is very often someone who comes in your life and helps you go on your spiritual path even further. So personally, when I had my Jupiter enter my 7th house, this is when I started collaborate with JC from Beyond Mystic. So for me, it was like a big mentor figure in my life and a lot of help in how to conduct a business and how to do those lives like we're doing right now. So I truly wish that you can find a great person like that in your life, Dawn.
Nice.
Cool. So, and then we're going to move to the next segment, which is the candle winner. And Elena just sent me the winner. So, drum roll. It's going to be, I'm just going to find the comment right here. Yes. So it's going to be Carol Holman. So you're the winner of a magic candle. We're going to send you an email. Elena is going to send you an email. Thank you so much, Carol, for your donation and comment. And then I'm gonna just share my screen with you guys. So for any booking with Meg, you can do it through maisonjupiter.com. Don't forget to enter Beyond Mystic for 10% off your consultation with the amazing Meg. So as you can see, she's great. Everybody has like a lot of great comments. I received a lot of emails from all of you people who have consultations with Meg. And I know you've been really hard at work, Meg, since December. Oh my God. I was looking at your schedule and I was like, wow, this is dedication. I think this is your Capricorn moon there.
Capricorn moon going hard.
Wow.
But it's fun. It's fun.
Everybody's writing me like how amazing they felt with all the knowledge you've been giving them. And also I feel like you're giving them a lot of insight about their own birth chart, and they have a lot of questions. And even people who know a lot about astrology have wrote me to say how enlightening your consultation with them was, because you taught them so much stuff they didn't even know, even though they were already versed into astrology. So
that's so nice. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Julie.
Thank you, Meg. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Maison Jupiter channel. And thank you, everybody. Thank you for your great comments, for your support. We appreciate it so much. And we're going to see you in the next episode in 2 weeks. So you can write in the comments below some suggestions for our next theme for the next Astro Decode in 2 weeks. So thank you, everybody, and have a great day and have a great week. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.